Thomas! It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by pierre-emerick.
Good evening, everybody. Very, very welcome to a special edition of the Arsenal Lounge with Special Sophie. How are you, Sophie? You good?
I'm good, Shaheen. How are you, my friend?
I'm very good. I'm very good. Happy that I'm going to spend an hour with you talking about Arsenal and the transfers, and hopefully we can make some sense out of whatever that is happening right now. For those of you who don't know, Sophie has got a podcast, Highbury Squad, and please do give a follow. And they do special content with the one and only Kevin Campbell. I know you got something special as well, Sophie, later after. Do you want to tell us about it? Because there's a potential target playing in that game, right?
Yeah. Well, we have the US men's national team game happening here with Canada. Alphonso Davies, Canada, although Alphonso's not playing, but they are top of the... To give people the example, it's the qualifying for the World Cup. So Canada right now are top of the group. The US are second. Mexico come next. Canadian football is really emerging. And our boy Matt Turner, who will be the backup goalkeeper to Aaron Ramsdale, will be playing in this game. And he'll be tested a lot more than he was the other night against El Salvador. So I'm looking forward to seeing him play and seeing how he does. And, you know, it's kind of cool. Shaheen, he plays with the likes of Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie from Juventus, Tyler Adams from RB Leipzig. He plays with, you know, top-tier players. The US men's national team, I think, now is getting a little bit more respect in terms of, you know, the talent that they have, where they're going. And I actually think if they can get through the qualifiers, they could be a very fun team to watch. I wish we'd go for Tyler Adams in this window, Shaheen.
Yeah?
Yeah. We need a midfielder. He's great.
We need a lot of things, Sophie, not just the midfielder. But yeah, Tyler Adams, I've heard the name being mentioned as well. And I have a feeling we're not going to get a midfielder. Talking about transfers, actually, let's come to this, Sophie, because we've got just about 28 hours left to the transfer window. Most of our targets have gone to other clubs. So Guimaraes has gone to Newcastle. Kulerovsky, if I pronounced it right, is going to Tottenham. We've let a lot of players go. Aubameyang apparently is very close to join Barcelona. And there's not even a strong rumor, Sophie. I would be content with even a strong rumor about us being linked with somebody. I mean, the latest I've heard, there's some pictures of Alexander Isak being in London, and everybody is now losing, he's in London, so he must be signing. I have a feeling this is going to be another panic buy that we're going to, like a Nicolas Pepe scenario, that we're going to spend a lot of money on a player out of panic, and it's going to... I don't know what's happening, Sophie. Can you make sense of what's happened? Do you know what's happening?
Okay, so to kind of quantify what you're saying, 100%, right? So there's a few things going on here that I think we need to dissect as Arsenal fans. The first thing is, nobody thought that we would be in a top 4 potential position. Shaheen, would you agree with that? At the beginning of the season...
Yes, I would.
Okay, so now we found ourselves in the improbable situation where we could finish top 4. So the question is, what are the club going to do about that?
Precisely.
I think there's a blurred line here between what the plan has been, i.e. Ramsdale comes in, Tomiyasu comes in, Ben White comes in, Nuno comes in, Sambi comes in, right? Edu does the interview for Sky Sports, and he says, we want to build around our youth, our younger players. And then he talks about transitioning to world-class players, the next phase, right? Now, also part of this process is getting rid of the deadwood, which we all agree on has to happen, right?
Yes.
But if you're going to shift out the deadwood, you've got to also, like if you fire someone, if you're a business owner and you fire someone or you let someone go, you better have an idea of who's going to come in to fill that position, right? So I feel like there's this juxtaposition between what the plan is and the improbable situation that Arsenal have found themselves in to finish fourth. And I believe they've gambled on what their original plan has been and was, and that is buy these players from last summer, knowing we can't offer European football, Shaheen, get to January, clear as much else out as we can, reduce the wage bill, and then in the summer, we go for X, Y, and Z. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong. In my mind, I'm just thinking this was probably the plan all along. And in that interview, Edu said the next phase is to sign world-class players. Well, let me caveat that with this. Okay, fine. If you're going to sign world-class players to support the young players, you're getting Aubameyang off the wage bill. You're getting Chambers. You're getting Kolasinac. You're getting Mari. You're getting all these players off the wage bill, six-figure income, right? If you want to attract world-class players, do you think they're going to come for 80, 100 grand a week?
No. No chance.
So there's a blurred line right now between what the original plan may have been to the improbable moment of finishing top four. But I think they've put their eggs in the we never knew we were going to be here basket, and we're going to carry on doing what we thought would happen versus taking the baton and saying, my goodness, wow, we could finish fourth. Let's go for it.
Well, you've summed it up perfectly, Sophie. Let me just come to you. Apparently, Norway loves you.
I love Norway.
Thank you, Inga Holmes.
Sometimes they get nil point in the Eurovision Song Contest, but I tell you, Norway is a phenomenal country, one of the most beautiful places in the world. I love it.
I haven't had the pleasure of being, but I'll take the word
it's beautiful.
for it. Are they not paid and paid handsomely, Sophie, to make decisions? And precisely when we find ourselves in a place where we're presented with the opportunity to fast track this plan that they originally have.
In a normal business,
advantage of this.
Yes, you would think that, any business, you're reaching your targets, right? But the truth is, we found ourselves in a unique situation. We never thought we would be here. And I had a come to Jesus meeting with myself the other day, and I'm like, you know what? They're following through on what they wanted to all along versus capitalizing on the potential of finishing fourth and going for it. You have to look at, like Edu did the interview with Sky, and he said, the next phase is to sign world-class players. Well, let's be honest, in order to do that, you have to pay them. Yeah, it looks like the goal is to reduce the wage bill in January, but at the same time, it's like if you want to sign world-class players, you can't pay world-class players 100 grand a week. That's not going to fly anymore in football.
No, it's not. And also, Sophie, I think this whole Dusan Vlahovic scenario was a wake-up call.
Was it a smoke screen or was it a smoke screen?
No, I don't know. I think it was. We genuinely, I think they went for him. From what I've seen, even we did a show with Fabrizio Romano before transfer window, and he said Arsenal are really interested at him, but he has no interest by even speaking to Arsenal. His agent, he doesn't even want to pick up Arsenal. His exact words, he will not pick up Arsenal's phone call. Now,
he always wanted to play for Juventus. That's why. That's not Arsenal's fault in that scenario.
No, it's not.
But Fabrizio Romano has also gotten some things wrong, just like Ornstein has.
Yes.
He got Neymar wrong. He got David Silva wrong. You know, he got Rabiot wrong. He got Gini Wijnaldum wrong. And I respect them all.
Yeah.
But
No. My point, Sophie, would be that if we want to attract world-class players, as you said, one, financial package needs to be on point. Second point is you need to have Champions League football.
Absolutely.
And now you're in a position that you can take advantage of this. So comes summer, you can approach top players and say, well, listen, we are in Champions League. We can financially offer you something good. We have space. We have a project. Why don't you come and join us?
And I think the last time I was on with you, Lev and Mo, I said, you cannot attract world-class players in modern football anymore without dangling the European football carrot.
Yeah.
We signed Aubameyang and Lacazette and Gabriel and Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney and Pepe, all these players with Europa League football, which is a vehicle to Champions League football, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, we don't want to be in Europe because we think we can win it. No. Why do we want to be in Europe? It's because of the financial rewards and the type of player you can attract, what you can offer. That's why we signed Tomiyasu. That's why we signed Ben White. That's why we signed Ramsdale. And in the end, that has actually worked out for us, which is a very unique situation.
Yes.
But going forward, Shaheen, you can't sit in a Sky Sports studio or in your mansion somewhere and say the next phase is to sign world-class players. And here we are with 1 day to go. We had 2 semi-finals against Liverpool. We blew it. We had an FA Cup third round against Forest. We blew it. We were 2 games away from being in a final at Wembley against Chelsea, a team that we have schooled at Wembley in cup finals over the last 3 or 4 years. He blew the FA Cup 2 years in a row. They won the FA Cup halfway in the season, granted. Aubameyang was on fire, but with Emery's team. Emery, the guy who's been criticised and ridiculed for so long from quite a few Arsenal fans. But after that, what has he done with his own team?
That is a very good question, Sophie. And now Mikel Arteta is part of this recruitment team. So he has to be part of the criticism that we are pushing their way, if you like. The fact that, how can I word this properly, Sophie? The way we've dealt with Aubameyang, right? Mm-hmm. The guy who's done in a short space of time quite a lot for Arsenal Football Club. I remember there was a couple of seasons that we were in Europa League. It was all down to Aubameyang's goals. If he was not scoring goals, there was nobody else that would score goals, and he was scoring a fair number of goals. Now, the same manager and the same director of football have offered him a massive contract. Okay, so I can't believe that his personality now has come to light from the time he signed this contract. His personality has always been the same from the time he was in Dortmund, from time previous that, from time he's come to Arsenal. Mm-hmm. I had this conversation with Lev on a show last time, and I said something major must have happened with Aubameyang for them to be freezing him out the way that they have, and now he seems to be he's off to Barcelona. That major that they can't even sit down and work it out. With him gone, we're left with Lacazette, who's got 3 league goals and 0 for Nketiah. Surely, Sophie, there must be a plan. If you let in Aubameyang go, it must be someone coming in. Or am I wrong?
No. I mean, your logic is completely correct. You would think that if you're going to let Aubameyang go... Now, let's be honest. Aubameyang was great his first 2 seasons. Something has happened since the FA Cup win that has... I think the relationship broke after the North London derby. Where Arteta publicly called him out, benched him. It broke from there. And I have to be honest too, like, not a lot of modern day players are strong sauce. Like Adams, Vieira,
Yeah.
Even Ramsey and,
Keown,
Lundberg
Parler,
and Keown and Parler and, I
Bergkamp,
would even say
Willian.
Tierney, like there's a Saka. They're strong source players. There's some weak source players in modern day football, right?
Yeah.
And Aubameyang had issues towards the end of his employment at Borussia Dortmund.
Yes.
And there's part of players that get caught up in the glamour and the glitz and the money. But also, I think there's some players that get caught up in when the manager disciplines them.
Yeah.
He came in, Arteta, and rightly so, to change a DNA and culture, Shaheen. We needed this. Players cannot control a dressing room.
Yeah.
A manager has to control a dressing room. Look what Sir Alex Ferguson did. Yap Stam, greatest defender at the time, gone. David Beckham, global superstar, gone. We've enabled players over and over again. And unfortunately, Unai Emery never had the power to make the changes. And I know firsthand that he tried. He wanted to make these changes, but his hierarchy, the executive level, he never had the same support the same way Arteta has.
Why do you think, Sophie, he's got this support?
Because
I'm
I
baffled by it.
think there's a difference between Raul and Edu.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a difference between Vinay being involved. Now, I'm not saying that they're the answer by any stretch of the imagination, but I also think the problem with this is, and I said, like when Aubameyang turned up late to the North London derby as an Arsenal captain and refused to do a warm down, excuse me, sorry, no. You cannot give that example, especially when young superstar potential players like Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe and Martinelli are watching you, right?
Agreed.
But also, Guendouzi plays a terrible game against Brighton and acts like a total little arsehole, right?
Yeah.
Goes to the Middle East during whatever and says X, Y, and Z, ostracized. Saliba, $27 million player, has been on loan for almost 3 years.
Yeah.
Dubious video that comes out, of course. He's a young guy at the time. It comes out much later. Ostracized. Torreira, difficult to adapt to London life. Ostracized. Pepe gets one sending off, never been the same since. And I think some Arsenal fans have every right when they ask, well, hold on a second. Why are we treating one player one way and another player another? Why can't he put his arm around Guendouzi and say, listen, you little punk, you could be a brilliant player. And he's starring for Marseille. And he's in the French team, which is almost impossible to get into with all the talent they have, Shaheen.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sophie.
And then Mavropanos, right? Burnley just sold a defender to Newcastle, Dan Burns. I question any Arsenal fan who even knew who he was, for 13 million. And we're selling Mavropanos to Stuttgart for 4 million. And he's been in the best 11s for multiple weeks in Bundesliga.
This is one of the things that has always hanged over Mikel Arteta. I remember Mavropanos coming in. I can't pronounce that as nice as you do, Sophie, so I'll go with Mavropanos. He played against Leicester, and he was good until the point I think he got sent off. But I liked what I saw of him. He was physical. He was commanding. Went out on loan, done well, not coming back in. Granit Xhaka does the unthinkable. Obviously, that's under different circumstances. Forgiven over and over again. Comes back, gets sent off, comes back in. Sent off, comes back in. Sent off again. Now he's going to come back in. Hector Bellerin, poor performance after still comes back in. And I think it's a shame for us to be losing the likes of Matteo Guendouzi, Mavropanos. I wouldn't be surprised if they sell Saliba during the summer.
Oh, Real Madrid are interested in a deal with Saliba and PSG. Can I just say
Yeah.
too that there's this issue here regarding the way we do business, who we do business with, but also my thing is Weghorst is about to go to Burnley for like 12 or 13 million. Weghorst has scored this season. He's had some injuries or whatever, but he's scored 6 goals in 18 games. Last season, he scored 17. The season before, 16. The season before that, similar. He's 29 years old. He provides an aerial threat. And when Arteta wants to play through the flanks, Shaheen, and cross the ball in 33 times in our last Premier League game with no one on the end of it, right? A play like Weghorst gives you the Giroud plan B or a plan B. I'm not saying he should be our premier striker, but for 29 years old at 13 million, that's good business, right?
It is. I agree with you, especially when you're drawing against Burnley at home and you need something different.
Something different. My gut, and again, this isn't based on fact or anyone that I talk to within the realm of everything that's going on. Why is it we can look at the age profile? Can Arteta manage players above the age of 26, 27, 28? Can he do that? Why is it we're going for that younger age profile? Why is it? Why is it?
Yeah, you say that, Sophie, as well. But there are some players who, like Saliba and Guendouzi or Mavropanos to a certain degree, that they're out on loan because Arteta didn't like their personality, or there was something there that he was not sure, and they're under this age bracket that you said. But I just think that he's got a bit of arrogance and ego within him.
He does.
That if you cross the line that I have, your out is finished, especially if there is something in you that I'm not sure. Because we've seen that with the likes of Ozil, Socrates.
He's not
now
even 40
Aubameyang.
yet. We know guys have egos. Women have egos. We all have egos, right? He's about to be 40. So it's his way or the highway. But he wants to train and buy and nurture younger players. Now, Edu said in his Sky interview, we need to dovetail that with world-class players next. And I saw a couple of people in chat say, Weghorst is playing in a farmers league. Are you serious? You think that the league that Weghorst plays in is a farmers league? For real? Have you seen some of the players who are playing in that league? He scored 25 goals last season. The point is that if you want to finish top 4, bring in someone who can score goals and propel us to top 4 if you really want European football. So now, Shaheen, I say, okay, we never thought we would, and the club are acting like they never thought we would. So we're going to continue with what the plan was at the beginning of the season versus what the plan is going forward. And if we even sign Alexander Isak, let me tell you something. He's 22, just turned 22.
Yeah.
He scored 4 goals this season.
Yeah. That's one more than Lacazette.
£75 million buyout clause.
Yeah.
There's one thing paying 45 million for Thomas Partey, who's played in, and there's another with Alexander Isak, and you can't go by. We're so snobby sometimes when it comes to the profile of the player that we look to sign.
Yeah.
We need, if you want to finish 4th, go for the goals, go for results immediately. It doesn't have to be part of our. Sometimes short term's okay.
Yeah,
to get the results.
Exactly what you said. And if you're going for the likes of Vlahovic, for argument's sake, right? Mm-hmm. Surely on a background, you must be working on 1 or 2 other alternatives in case this falls apart. So you can go, right, okay, now I feel Arsenal are in a position where they think, right, if we don't find somebody big, the fans they're going to have a backlash. So let's go panic buy. Let's pay that 75 million that maybe we would have spent in summer and get Isak in, so we kind of smooth things over. And so we move on. And that is, I feel, wrong. And I think the option that you presented will probably make a lot more sense. So you get somebody that will cover you from now to end of the season, will get you 10 goals from now to the end of the season, get you in the Champions League. You can regroup, maybe do a few deals, sell some players, hopefully, and then get decent players in.
Look at Leeds. They're going for Rafinha, right? They're going for players who've played in the league. Say what you want about Newcastle, right, with their instant money and gratification. They've picked players who've played in the Premier League to help them stay up.
I've
players
always said that, yes.
Who can come in and have an immediate impact. Yes. Is Isak going to have a more immediate impact than Lacazette?
No.
The striker position is so pivotal. It is the marquee position in any football team. And yes, we signed Aubameyang in a January transfer window. And that worked out for a while. But the point is that now we're in this position. What are we doing to get a predator up front that can come in and bang in goals?
Nothing. It seems to be the answer, because no one knows what's going on. Sophie, just on Mikel Arteta, I just want to ask you this. Again, we were discussing this last time on the show, and we're going to discuss this again tomorrow, because we do this 8 o'clock podcast with Mo and Tom. You're in America,
yes,
right? Have you heard from some sources that you may have, or from here and there, why Mikel Arteta was in America to meet Stan?
So there's two schools of thought. That number one, the trip was always planned. Number two, he was here begging for money for the transfer window, which I don't think would ever happen without Edu by his side. And if Edu didn't come on the trip, what's happening with Edu's future? Okay.
Yeah.
If they're tied at the hip and they're the ones making all the decisions and the deals, the fact that Edu wasn't here is very glaring. I think it was about his deal. I think he was here to discuss his deal.
I agree as well. I think he was there to finalize his contract, and they're going to give him an extension, which is beyond me. I think you're probably in the same boat as me.
Yeah, we're in a results-based business, right? What CEO of a company would get a new contract without results or ROI, right? How can you reward this guy with a new contract before we know if we've qualified for Europe? 20 how many years in Europe? We missed Europe last season because of him. We failed in a European semi-final because of him. And now we've lost one route back to Europe organically through winning the FA Cup. Again, we've poo-pooed that competition. Yeah. And now we're fighting Tottenham, West Ham and Manchester United, who definitely Manchester United, you could argue, have a better tactician and a better squad. West Ham have belief and heart, and in someone like David Moyes, who's adaptable. And Tottenham, the unexpected potential team to finish fourth only because of Antonio Conte. That guy could squeeze and make lemonade out of lemons. And here we are.
Yeah, exactly. And, you say that we lost a European semi-final, FA Cups. It's not just losing them. It's the manner that we lost them. And for me, the European semi-final that we lost, it hurts the most, because we went in there with some made-up tactics that was never been tried in a most important game, and it didn't work.
Sorry, Shaheen, there's someone in chat saying that Isak is going to have an immediate impact, and that he's... Yeah. Come on. Have you seen their goal ratio? Please stop. Just stop.
Well, Sophie, do you know what? I'm going to come to this now. Just before I do, we've got about 400 and something people watching. Please hit the like button. Subscribe to Arsenal Lounge. Subscribe to Highbury Squad. Sophie does a lot of contact with Kevin Campbell, and she does a lot of content herself. Always, as you can see, she's very, very knowledgeable on football, and she knows what she's talking about. That's why I love having her on, because it's an intelligent conversation always with Sophie. They do a lot of shows, and we're doing a transfer deadline day special tomorrow as well with Mo and Tom at 8 if you want to join. Are you guys doing something tomorrow, Sophie?
We are. We're going a little bit. We're going to go half hour before the transfer deadline, and then stay on a little bit after as well.
So you guys are doing 10:30 tomorrow, right?
Yes, 10:30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
10:30
UK
UK time. So if you want to be with Sophie and is it Kevin? You and Kevin?
Yeah, Kev's on.
So
Yeah,
you and
Super
Kevin
Kev.
tomorrow 10:30 at Highbury Squad. Give them a watch, and we're going to be live with Mo and Tom at 8 o'clock. Does this message that we just put on the screen, does that represent some Arsenal fans that, for me, I look at the message and I've been thinking, what does this guy see on Isak for £75 million? And as you said, scored 4 goals. Young, unproven, hell of a lot of money. Why?
You know, the interesting thing is, and we do this as fans, right? A few months ago, it was Andre Silva, right?
Yeah.
Everyone wanted Andre Silva. A little while ago, it was Ollie Watkins or Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
You
Still,
know, now
some people call Ivan Toney.
Now, he's behaved poorly on this break, and that's going to cost him, because Arteta's never going to sign a player like that. Ever, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean he's not a good player.
Yeah.
But now everyone's an expert. How many Arsenal fans do you really think have seen him play week in, week out?
No, Isak.
Yeah.
Very, very little.
Very, very little. Right.
I haven't. I admit it.
So we jump on this bandwagon because we think... So, for example, people can poo-poo Weghorst, who has been prolific over the last 4 or 5 seasons in Bundesliga, and now they want to champion a player like Isak, or Isak, however you want to pronounce it, who is still very young and has a ton of potential. He's basically a younger Lacazette. If Lacazette had a brother, Shaheen, it would be Alexander Isak. You know?
Similar type of player.
Yes. So the point is that what do Arsenal need right now? The goals have dried up for Saka. They've dried up for Martinelli a little bit. We scored 21 goals in December. We've scored 1 goal in January, right? Odegaard has stopped scoring. Emil Smith-Rowe coming off the bench. He's been injured, but, you know, it's going to take him time to adapt. We need a prolific goal scorer. That's what Aubameyang provided when he first came in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah. I just Googled his stats, Alexander Isak. So this season, played 18 games, scored 4 goals. Okay.
Correct.
Previous season, 34 games, 17 goals, which is fairly
decent.
Yeah. Previous season, 37 games, 9 goals. Now, to me, that's not a £75 million player. So 1 good
Correct.
season.
And I've seen a few people say, well, who knew about Tommy? Tommy was playing in a competitive resurgent Serie A league where he was marking top-tier players like Ronaldo, Dybala, you know, Lorenzo Insigne, that a lot of Ibrahimovic.
Yeah.
You know, Tommy didn't come. Forget what the dude at Sky Sports said.
Yeah. I never take
You know,
into account anything.
so yes, some people poo-pooed Ramsdale, of course, but you guys are asking for a striker to come in and help us finish top 4. In the summer, the plan was, what's the new Arsenal? And all I'm saying is the plan now is we didn't think maybe we would be in this position, so we're going to carry on with what our plan was. When we got Ben White and Tommy and Ramsdale and Nuno and Sambi, there's a long-term vision, and then to back up that vision with more senior players. So why not try and bring a couple of senior players in now? Look what United did with Cavani.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We could have. I remember we were in, and some people saying, "Oh no, he's too old. He's past that." The guy has come in and he's done well for United. We could have done with Cavani, to be honest with you, but that is the thing. Niaz as well. Thank you for your super chat. Agrees with you. Not many have seen Isak and just
they haven't. And last season he was really exciting, and that's why he's got this attention. This season he has not been the same. So please don't misunderstand me saying, like, do I think that he has huge potential? Yes, but when are Arsenal going to stop paying for potential?
Yeah, and they only signed him on a new contract last summer, Sophie, and this £75 million has just come in at the back of that one good season.
Exactly.
Look,
Nicolas Pepe everyone thought, there, you said it. You took the words right out of my mouth. Great minds
think alike, Sophie. Let's look ahead. We've got, again, as I said, what time is it now? We've got about 26 hours left of the window. Dare I say, what would you like to see happen, Sophie? And what do you think will happen?
Well, I would like to have seen action at the beginning of January. So with that, potentially we'd be going to Wembley to play Chelsea in a League Cup final, a trophy we haven't won since 1993. Super Kev was in that last team that won that trophy. I would have loved to have seen us be more competitive in the FA Cup, a trophy that we own, a route back to Europe. Yeah. The route back to Europe may have to start with Europa League. We could have won that last year. But we were so naive. You know, xhaka at left back. And in the end, Arteta lost to the man that he replaced. That's the truth. He went on to win his fourth. The only time he has not won a Europa League is when he was manager of Arsenal.
And he got to the final, but didn't win.
Right. So for me, January was a pivotal month. Now, maybe we got lucky pushing the North London derby. That could also become a game that becomes a game of games. Let's be honest, right? I'm not giving up on the team. I'm just saying we've left ourselves very thin. Kolasinac has gone. Mari's gone. Chambers has gone. You know, Maitland-Niles has gone.
Nketiah will go. Can I just ask you something, Sophie? Hold your thoughts. 1 second. Why do you think we have refused to bid for Nketiah in this transfer window?
Because I believe we've realised our mistake and that he could have gone for 15 million last season, and we failed to do that. And when you see Brighton sell Dan Burns, a defender that most fans in Premier League wouldn't even know who he was, and he's 29 years old for 13 million, that's embarrassing.
It is.
And part of it, though, the worrying thing, Shaheen, is are we holding on because there's nothing coming in?
That's what I was just going to say. And also, Nketiah will leave for free comes July. And we're now refusing money for him because possibly we left things way too late. With Aubameyang also underway, that there's no one going to come in. Everybody talks about Isak, this, Calvert-Lewin, this and that. But Arsenal is just half of this equation. Real Sociedad may not want to sell him now because they'll be looking at this thinking, this is too late. We're not going to find someone to replace him.
Exactly. What team is going to let their top-tier players, right? Their top-tier players go without last minute?
Yeah, unless
I just realised this whole time my mic hasn't been plugged in, so I'm sorry if it sounds a little different.
Good.
And the problem is that Arteta's stuck with Eddie. He's stuck with players, and he's been really good for us in the League Cup. He's helped us in those types of competitions, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But unfortunately, that hasn't translated to the Premier League. The Premier League is a different beast to everything.
Of course.
And money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are in a situation where we got 35 million for Iwobi. We got 22 million for Willock. We got decent money for Walcott. Those deals are an anomaly. They're few and far between.
We could have got 20 million for Ainsley Maitland-Niles, but we refused him, and we didn't play him either. Now he's gone on loan. It's just sometimes I look at this, Sophie, and I just think, what a mess. Like, is there anybody there who knows what they're doing, or is it that I don't know what I'm talking about and they know what they're doing?
No,
I genuinely question myself sometimes.
I also understand they're trying to clear up a mess, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is that, you know, Arteta and Edu get the pass, but the mess started from the end of the Wenger era and into Emery's era. And Emery tried to clean up the mess, like I said. Yeah. But Ozil, Kolasinac, Mustafi owned the dressing room at that time. That is truth.
Yeah, and maybe Edu and Arteta are not experienced enough to deal with this mess.
I think that they think they are, but I also believe they have challenges from ownership on fiscal responsibility and balancing books. And I think that comes at a price. So was the plan really for January to bring in players or just get players off the wage bill? And if you promise to sign world-class players, how are you going to do that by just offering them 100 grand a week? Because that's not possible anymore.
No, it's not. And also, no Champions League football. And I think the fact that now we are in a league position, relatively healthy league position. On top of that, this dilemma with Aubameyang has come to light. You must be able to adapt and react to challenges that comes your way. And as you said earlier, it seems that we can't do that. Things happened. We don't know what to do with it now. So let's stick to the original plan and let's see what happens. And that is wrong. You need to be able to change and adapt to different. We're presented with a wonderful opportunity, Sophie, that we're not taking advantage of.
And the wonderful opportunity is to get back into Europe again, not because we can win it, but because we can get the financial rewards to offer to certain players that will come and join the team or sign for the team. And, you know, unfortunately, I think we have reverted, like I'll say, and I just had this epiphany the other day. I'm like, we're just going to continue down the path of what the plan was versus really trying to finish fourth. And even if we sign Alexander Isak or whatever, that doesn't guarantee we're going to finish in fourth.
No, it doesn't.
And also, if Tomiyasu is injured, who's going to come in for him? If Gabriel or Ben White get injured, who's going to come in for them? If xhaka and Partey continue to be ill-disciplined in midfield and get red cards, who's going to partner Sambi, a player who we've just set up to fail? People want to point the finger at. He was captain of Anderlecht at 21 years old, playing under Vincent Kompany. He is not a bad player, but at Arsenal, he's been set up in a situation where who am I playing in, week out? What am I playing with?
Yeah.
Are we going to burn out Saka? Are we going to burn out Emil Smith-Rowe? Are we going to burn out Martinelli?
Well, you know, you say that, Sophie. That's another thing that I was going to actually talk to you about is the more this is dragging on, the more there is no European football. We're not really challenging for anything. Things, you know, we have this Aubameyang and Ozil scenarios that come out of nowhere. Would the likes of Martinelli and Saka and Smith-Rowe look at this and they'll be thinking, okay, you know, I've done my loyalty bit here, but what's best for me now? Is it to stay here? Or in Martinelli's case, there is, you know, Klopp was talking about Martinelli very, very highly. And in summer, if Liverpool comes in for Gabriel Martinelli, it's going to be, I wouldn't blame him if he leaves, especially if we don't have European football.
I think, sorry, that's Vinny. I think that Martinelli has less loyalty to Arsenal than Saka and Emil Smith-Rowe, right? We're talking about two Highland boys.
Especially Mikel Arteta hasn't been the kindest of managers to Martinelli, if you remember. He used to come in, do well, dropped.
Right. And he's had a tendency to drop players when they have a good game, right? So I think we have a 2-3 year window. At the end of the day, and Super Kevin Campbell will tell you guys this, players want to win trophies. Why do you think Harry Kane has gone into a spiral since his deal at City never went through. He realised he gave his best years to Tottenham, but at the end of the day, winning is everything. Alan Shearer went to Newcastle when he could have gone to Manchester United. Could have won everything at United, but his heartstrings tugged and he went to Newcastle. And he said, you know, at the end of the day, it's about winning. If you and I have a darts match at my house, Shaheen, you're going to want to beat me. I'm going to want to beat you. And that is just us playing darts at my house.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So the same thing with Robin van Persie, with Cesc Fabregas, with Nasri, with Clichy, you know, with all these players. If you don't show your willingness to build a team and win, eventually the love coupons expire. We got to be really careful.
That's it. And I think Martinelli could possibly be the first one that his coupon would expire. You know, if you got Klopp coming, telling you all these good things, come, we're going to play Liverpool Champions League week in, week out. We can challenge for the league. We can win the Champions League. It will take a lot of loyalty.
Why did Diaz end up going to Liverpool and not Tottenham?
Exactly, because it's a better club. They can win things. He's got more chance of winning things.
Right.
Got a couple of super chats from Mohammad Zishan. Thank you for your kind super chat. We didn't go for Coutinho. We didn't try for Zakaria. Chick in Kuku. Neva went for never.
Maddison.
So went for Maddison. Tielemans is a shame. No squad depth for Arsenal. Precisely. And Perry, thank you for your kind super chat. My friend, you're always on the chat. Appreciate your support. Sophie, do you think Arsenal should sign Alvaro Morata on loan? He scored 20 goals last season in all competition.
Morata. If I say, like, beggars can't be choosers, I'll take him. People will probably come at me.
I'd rather him than 75 million Isak.
I'd rather him than Nketiah.
Yeah.
If it means him coming between now, February 1 and May 29, and just saying, hey, let's play as you pay, whatever it is, score X amount of goals, we'll pay you X. I would do it. I would take the risk. Now, is he the answer? No. But is he also the type of player that's looking to restore his reputation in the Premier League? Yes. Does he have more technical quality than some of the current players that we have in terms of goal scoring?
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Mikel Arteta came out, Sophie, and he said it is very difficult for us in the market to upgrade on the quality of the players we have in terms of attacking force right now.
Really? In terms of the fact that you're like, we've scored like 3 goals and 1 goal.
Exactly, and you've got Aubameyang, who is frozen out, 4 goals. Lacazette, 3 goals, and Nketiah 0.
It's just
and he's finding it difficult to upgrade on that. And I think Morata is certainly an upgrade on Nketiah. That's my view.
Absolute PR nonsense. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes
okay, do you want to hear something crazy? Do you want to hear something crazy?
Go on.
I would have taken Jesse Lingard on loan. Look what he did at West Ham last season. He's the reason they got into the position. This is where our snobbery comes in. Like, as fans, because he's a United player. We gave Robin van Persie to United and they went and won the league. When are we going to grow up as a club and realise that it's about deals and winning and making tough choices and screwing people over the way we get screwed over and have been year after year after year in the transfer market?
Yeah.
If you really wanted to finish 4th, you would have made your business decisions, get ready January 1, before January 1, December. And now we're 1 day before the transfer deadline. The month of January, where we could have won 2 domestic cups, is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. We've got about 15 minutes, I think, left, and we've got about 540 people watching. Please hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to Arsenal Lounge. Subscribe to Highbury Squad, Sophie. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, join us, Arsenal Lounge, with Mo and Tom. We're going to talk about the deadline day, last few hours. And then from 10:30, you can join Sophie and Kevin Campbell on Highbury Squad to end the window and talk about what the business has been done. So, Sophie, what would you like come tomorrow, 11:01? What would you like to see and have happened from now till that time?
Magic.
I doubt you get magic from Arteta and Vinay and Edu. But realistically,
I would like for us to be in the business for a midfielder, a striker, a centre back, and a backup right back. And unfortunately, I don't think any of those things can happen on the last day unless there have been things going on behind the scenes that we absolutely do not know about. But if I was going to pick one or two, it's got to be someone who can come in and score goals, and it's got to be someone who can play in that midfield position if Partey and Xhaka are not available. And I say Xhaka loosely, not because I think he's the answer, but he's the best of what we've got.
What we have, yeah. I agree with you. 100% agree with you.
This is why I think Jesse Lingard is a good option. But look at Newcastle. Look what they're doing. And people are going to say, oh, they can offer money. We can offer money. We're Arsenal Football Club.
I think people would prefer to come to North London than Newcastle. With all due respect to the Geordies, I love them and they're very passionate. But
why haven't we gone balls out to get Genie from PSG and said to him, look, I know you're unhappy at PSG. We know that. All we're asking is you come January to May and then you can go back to PSG. That's it. That's all we want.
I think, do you know what, Sophie? They might have looked at this and thought, right, next time we'll play a game, it's 10th of February. So all these suspensions is done. We've gone through the difficult patch that we had. If he comes in, sadly, Arteta has shown in the past he's not going to drop Granit Xhaka for nobody. No. And he's not going to drop Thomas Partey either. So they'd be thinking, where would he play? And he might be thinking for one game a week scenario, because we're out of cups. We don't have any European football. We have nothing. Just one game a week to end of the season. And at best, we can finish in the top four. So they may look at this and be thinking, okay, maybe not. We wouldn't go for Wijnaldum now, maybe in summer. But if you do that, in my book, if you do that, surely you've got to then go all out to get on a striker, knowing you're not going to bury the hatch with Aubameyang. You've frozen him out. You're not going to play him. And Nketiah, you can see it's not the answer. Lacazette, he hasn't been prolific. You've got to go on a striker.
But Shaheen, this goes back to my point. Are they okay with not finishing fourth because it wasn't really part of their plans this season? Are they okay with the fact that we could have, but this has been our plan? We're sticking to what our strategic objectives were from the beginning of the season. That is why I am now resigned myself to the answers aren't going to come out. And you're right, someone said to me, you're asking for a lot. At the beginning of the transfer window, I wasn't asking for a lot, but now I am. But that's my request that should have happened before the window even opened, right? Yeah, some people asking about Coutinho. You know what? In hindsight, again, January through May, sure, why not? What do we have to lose as a club? We're not saying these players have to be... It almost feels like, Shaheen, we're trying to put all the puzzles, the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle together for perfection now. Whereas really, it's a little bit like American sports. You bring in players just to do things now, in this season, in this moment. And it doesn't seem like we're willing to do that. And the point is too, for me, no matter who comes in at this phase, I love winning. I'm an old school fan. I would have loved to have won the League Cup. I would love to have still been in the FA Cup. And those opportunities in January are gone.
Yeah, 100% gone. And I think I want to see them not pay £75 million for Alexander Isak from now until tomorrow. It's a lot of money. And I think if we do that, it will affect our summer plans. I just want them to go for a type of striker that you said, somebody who's doing well in another league, come in on loan, or even if we have to buy them for 13, 14, 15, even 20 million pounds. Get them in to somebody that will get you 10 goals, 10 to 12 goals from now to end of the season.
Yeah.
And
And some of the listeners on my show have been telling me, like they've been saying, they're going to stick to what the mantra is. But then when you find yourself in that position to do something different and challenge West Ham and challenge Manchester United and challenge Tottenham, Shaheen, why not go for it?
Yeah.
They can't deviate from the plan.
Again, and as I said, you need to be able. These guys, they get paid a lot of money to make these sort of decisions, and now you're presented with the opportunity. Surely you can adapt and you can change to accommodate this opportunity and finish it. There is a massive difference between us finishing in top four and not finishing top four summertime, when you're looking to buy top players. And I've got to ask you this, Sophie. If we don't sign anyone from now till tomorrow, okay, and we'll finish, I don't know, 6th, 7th, 8th, surely then you've got to ask questions of Arteta and Edu and Vinay, all three of them.
If you're an ambitious club, right, the truth is, of course, as fans, we love our club. We want them to play football. We want to win the domestic trophies. We want to win the Premier League. But the truth of modern day football is if you're not in Europe and you want to sustain and keep up with the football Joneses like City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Manchester United, you have to be in Europe. You cannot cost your team a European spot like Arteta did and not regain it the next season and keep your job.
Exactly. And it seems that the way I see him carry himself and the way when I see him speak, it doesn't seem that there is any pressure on the guy at all. He doesn't feel that he's under any threats or any pressure that he needs to achieve something comes under the season. He's very relaxed. He's like, I don't like Aubameyang. He's the club. I made him a club captain. I offered him a contract. I don't fancy him now. I'm going to freeze him out. And there's not going to be any repercussions.
Actually, Emery made Aubameyang captain after Xhaka threw his shirt on the ground at the Emirates, but Arteta also gave it back to Xhaka, and he's been rewarded. And when he's been sent off, he's patted him on the backside. Whereas when Pepe was sent off, he was ostracised. Ceballos causes a shitstorm with his bad play and sending off in Europa League. He gets rewarded by continually being picked. That's the issue. Like, if you're going to be a manager, be consistent. You know?
Exactly, and as I said to you, my biggest thing is that there's not seems to be any pressure on him. I'm conscious that you want to go and watch the game, so guys, please subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, subscribe to Highbury Squad. Don't forget tomorrow 8:00 with me, Tom, and Mo, and 10:30 Sophie and Kevin Campbell on Highbury Squad. Sophie, lovely to have you as always.
That went fast. That was epic.
It did actually. We'll end the show with your final thoughts from now till tomorrow.
My final thoughts are, if you can get access and watch Matt Turner playing goal for the US men's national team in this World Cup qualifier against Canada, it'll be a lot of fun. Let's go Niners, beat the Rams and teach Kroenke and not let him play on his home turf here in LA. And the other thing is, we love Arsenal Football Club. That is the bottom line. All of us, at the end of the day, we want what's in the best interest of our club. We may disagree, we may butt heads, but we want our club to be competitive, consistent, and succeed. And just keep that in the back of your minds. No matter what happens in this transfer window, the players, the managers, they'll come and go, but we will always be here.
Well said. Thank you very much, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 8. Have a good evening.